Hi and welcome to all the racing fans and enthusiasts around the globe joining us for this pre-recorded show. We are recording on Tuesday for the Wednesday meeting, the 24th of April, where racing takes place at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. And lovely to have Graham Hawkins in studio in KwaZulu-Natal. He's going to be giving us the selections. Firstly, Graham, nice to see you here. And then secondly, another one of those cards where few races you can make money, and then one or two you got to tread a little bit cautiously.
Yes, it's a typical Hollywoodbets Kenilworth card. It's nice to be back in the studio. It's nice to be back in KwaZulu-Natal and looking forward to champion season. But in between times, we've got to take care of racing in the Western Cape. And the first of 8 races off at 12:30. First race is the first leg of the bipot.
Well, let's get straight into the opening leg of the bipot. You've gone with the top 2 in the betting, numbers 2 and 12, starting with number 2, Dixieland Band, the daughter of the United States. And just looking at the booking of Richard Fourie from the 2 draw. Now, you razor sharp when it comes to pedigrees. 1400 meters should be right up the alley.
No problem with the 1400 meters. Most of these are going around the turn for the first time. Only Ruby Claire and Darling Girl have experience of the bend. They ran 6th and 7th behind Ice Rain. I'm not sure that form is good enough to get them home here. So it does boil down to number 2, Dixieland Band, and number 12, Babalicious. Babalicious has been a little disappointing. I've expected more from her. She's got a wide draw to overcome, and for that reason, I'm in the camp of number 2, Dixieland Band, to beat number 12, Babalicious, but both need to go into the bipot. There has been a measure of support around for number 7, Pentalina. Only had the 1 start. Pentalina can certainly improve on that, was 6th, although well beaten by Sahara Cat. I think that form line was quite strong. Coral Blaze, Timeline, they need to be considered for trifectas and quartets. But for me, it's Dixieland Band to come home ahead of Babalicious, mainly on the draw factor. And obviously, it doesn't do any harm that Dixieland Band enjoys the services of Richard Fourie. I think the improver in the race could be number 7, Pentalina.
Well, there we go. That's race number 1. As we move along to race number 2, which is over 1100 meters, due off at 13:05. Just looking at the anti-post betting, number 2, Tequila Sky, from 18 to 10 down 15 to 10. The interesting runner is number 8, Bella Vista, very well bred, 18 to 10. And then we have number 4, Pink Moon, at 6 to 1. Just looking at the comments from the Justin Snaith team, number 3, Beware the Bomb, doing really well, should be in the money. But Graham, number 8, Bella Vista, bred in the absolute purple, and the word is top sort, 1 to follow.
Yeah, it's quite a shallow start to the place accumulator. This maiden played for fillies and mares over 1100 meters. The comments are quite bullish. The pedigree is 5-star, but give me the green light out of Bella Bella. 2-year-old in open company, but we've seen the 2-year-olds winning in maiden class, and it would be no surprise to see number 8, Bella Vista, making a winning debut. Richard Fourie has been engaged to ride, but it's not always Justin Snaith's style to have them fully wound up for their first race, and for that reason I see the money's now starting to come for number 2, Tequila Sky. So when they priced up, Bella Vista was as short as 13 to 10, now starting to drift in the market. Number 2, Tequila Sky, was priced up at 2 to 1, is now starting to shorten in the market. And it does look as if the winner should come from one of these two, although I do believe that number 4, Pink Moon, would have been desperately in need of her first run after a 6-month absence from the track. She ran 3rd in her first 2 starts, then was off the track for 6 months. Wasn't a totally poor performance behind Star Performer, although beaten 8 lengths. Star Performer won that day by quite a wide margin, and Connery has come out to flatter that form. So Pink Moon is the definite improver. She's got a 5-star pedigree, being by See the Moon out of Banting by Horse Chestnut. She's got a lovely pedigree. So Pink Moon, the improver. But as far as the bipod is concerned, I've gone with numbers 2, Tequila Sky, and 8, Bella Vista. As I said, it's not a very strong race. Tequila Sky keeps finding one to beat her. She's been a runner-up in the last 3 starts. That could happen again. But 2, 8, and 4 for me.
That'll take us on to the opening leg of the pick 6, which is race number 3, over 1600 meters. And when you look at race number 3, I think you can narrow it down to a few runners. And Graham, numbers 1 and 3 are the 2 horses for the bipot. after that for the pick six, is there anything else that you would be throwing in for the pick six?
Yes, I think you've got to look a little deeper as far as the pick six is concerned. Interestingly, Amancio ran fourth in its second start behind In the Bag. Now, in that race, at 12 Falante was just in front, ran second, 3/4 of a length behind In the Bag. So there was only a head separating number 3 Amancio and Etoile Falante on the 10th of February. Etoile Falante has had another run since, run second, beaten less than a length by Continental Express. So fitness might be on the side of number 7 Etoile Falante. We haven't seen number 3 Amancio since the 10th of February, so been off the track for more than 2 months. But being by Silvano and having shown that vast improvement in the second start, I do believe that Amancio will be good enough to turn the tables at number 7 Etoile Falante. Damio and Azuri both come out of the Voorlopiki form line, and Voorlopiki's come out to run well again. So Damio finished quite comfortably ahead of Azuri, but Azuri is another improving type. So it's different form lines. So as far as the bipod is concerned, I've gone with numbers 1 Damio and 3 Amancio from 2 different form lines. But certainly from a pick six and a point of view, Etoile Falante and Azuri have got to be thrown into the mix. And perhaps also number 4 Prince of Tibet has had many chances, consistently there and thereabouts. But could be the one to upset the apple cart. There's always an upset in the Hollywoodbets Kenilworth pick six. We've had a number of carryovers in recent meetings, but my top choice from a good draw with the services of Richard Free and the Brett Crawford Richard Free combination. When they team up, they're potent. 33 times they've joined forces, and on 13 of those 33 times they've ended up in the winner's enclosure. So I think Amancio has probably got more upside than any of the other runners, and therefore my top choice ahead of numbers 1, 7, 11 and 4, but I don't think it's cut and dried.
Well, there you go, not cut and dried, so keep a close eye on the betting market and see if any runner attracts any support outside. On to race number 4 over 1,800 meters. In this contest, it's an open maiden, so keep a very close eye here. An open maiden, so look at the weight structuring in this race. And number 8, Red Rackham from the Gareth van Zyl stable, an interesting runner. Brevin Plaatjes is only in Cape Town for the one ride, takes the 4 kilograms off the back, and that could be the master stroke here, Graham.
Gareth van Zyl is a master strategist, and obviously Red Rackham with just 50.5 on its back is going to be a huge runner. Obviously the anti-post favourite, number 10, Quite a King, has been scratched. That is the only scratching that we have so far on the card, and in his absence throws the race wide open. So Red Rackham with 50.5 on its back for the services of Bevan Plaatjes. There has to be a question mark about whether the son of William Longsword stays. 1,800 meters in its penultimate start, didn't appear to get home, had every chance approaching the final 400 meters, ran out of steam in the closing stages, was dropped back in distance to 1,400 meters, and again hit the front, looked as if Red Rackham was going to go on and win the race, and then ducked and dived a little bit over the closing stages to be beaten nearly 2 lengths by Moon Acre. So I don't think Red Rackham is an easy ride, and we're not certain whether he's going to get the 1,800 meters. So there are a few others. I do like the chances of number 12, Lockheed Lightning. I know a well-tried maiden having his 20th start, but this is an open maiden, and that's why these open maidens are programmed to give these horses like number 12, Lockheed Lightning, a bit of a chance. Now, he's my value bet for the day, but he was 7-8 to 1 earlier when Quite a King was still in the race. And I was confident he was going to beat Quite a King because they ran against each other a little while ago, and at the weight turnaround, Lockheed Lightning had him stone cold. But that's all academic now with number 10, Quite a King, out of the race. But number 12, Lockheed Lightning, remains my first choice ahead of number 8, Red Rackham. There are a few question marks for me about number 8, Red Rackham, but there are others. Number 3, Apache Chief, draw a line through his last run. Go watch the replay. Wide throughout, the saddle slipped. Elder de Meyer had no control over him whatsoever. So draw a line through that. Apache Chief from a better draw is going to run a better race. The Eric Sands stable continues to show good form. And the stable companion French Trip, although a very weak race when beaten half a length by Baton Rouge, is certainly not without a chance. And then Juan Lepin for me is quite interesting because he's bred to stay, and last time out showed glimmers of form. On that form line, he's held by number 9 French Trip, but Juan Lepin might be able to improve further because he's not as exposed as some of the others. So it is an open maiden. You've got to tread cautiously. I think number 12, Lockheed Lightning, will give us a good run for our money. Red Rackham, a few question marks. Apache Chief will run better. And then Juan Lepin and French Trip could be in the mix as well.
Just giving you a little bit more confidence on your value selection, number 12, Lockheed Lightning, the penultimate run, 2 winners. And then last time running behind Lightning Glow. Lightning Glow's come out to frank the form. Luce Verde and also Majestic Warrior. So the form lines are looking good of the last 2 runs.
The form lines are looking good, but that being said, when a horse is having its 20th start in the maiden ranks, how confident can you be? But Richard Fourie in the saddle is a plus, and he also enjoys a very good strike rate with Vaughan Marshall. But then again, I guess Richard Fourie enjoys a good strike rate with most trainers.
There we go. On to race number 5, and this is going to be quite an interesting contest. Graham has gone with numbers 3, 4 and 7. And the Grandiosa form line is going to come under the spotlight. Beat Veronique last time out. And in the same race, number 7, Flight to Rio was back in 5th. Those are your top 3 selections. And then my value bet will be number 6, Little Miss Pink with Bernard Fadeherb, who's dropped down to a competitive rating. And I think those are the 4 horses we can play around.
I've really been waiting for Little Miss Pink to come back to the winner's enclosure. It's been 660 days since she last won a race. She always threatens. But I have to be honest with you, I'm not discounting her chances completely, especially as far as the jackpots and the pick sixes are concerned. She can win a race of this nature. As you said, she is dropping in the ratings. But I'm going to sit on the fence with number 6, Little Miss Pink. You've mentioned the 3 principles that I like. 3, Grandiosa and Veronique, strictly on form. There shouldn't be too much to choose between them. They met last time on the 26th of March when Veronique was a half length behind Grandiosa. At the weight turnaround, there shouldn't be too much to choose between them. This is a Greg Enion type race for me. So Fly to Rio has done me proud in the past. You know what it is when you followed horses, they win for you big prices. You're not going to abandon them. So I'm not going to abandon number 7, Fly to Rio, even though Veronique may be the stable elect. I certainly think that number 7, Fly to Rio, has a chance. But Grandiosa obviously must come into the reckoning. The interesting runner, and the one that is finding support, is the maiden. Number 2, Ticking Bomb, has been declared to race with Cheek Pieces. She's lightly raced. She's a 3-year-old daughter of Lancaster Bomber. Maiden running in a Class 5 handicap. But if you go back in her form lines, you know, Flamboyant Fly, there's a winner from there. Basic Maneuvers, a winner from there. And then the run behind Plum Pudding wasn't too bad at all. That was over 1,800 meters, a penultimate start. So she drops back to the 1,400. I respect the market support. Obviously, she has a chance because she may be ultimately better than all of the opposition that she meets here. But for a maiden to be carrying 60.5 and to be conceding, for instance, a bit of weight to the 4-time winner Fly to Rio, conceding quite a lot of weight to the 2-time winner Veronique, she does receive just a half a kilogram from Grandiosa. Little Miss Pink is also twice a winner. So it's going to be tough for the maiden. But is she absolutely chanceless? No, not at all. 11 United We Stand deserves a mention, also ran in the Grandiosa race. She ran 4th, so strictly on form, should be held by Grandiosa and Veronique, and is drawn wide. But the Lunga Gila stable has suddenly found their straps. They were responsible for the pick 6 carryover at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth last week when 1,000 Kisses came through to win the opening leg and blew most of the tickets into the bin. So Lunga Gila is finding his feet in the Western Cape, and kudos to him. And United We Stand is not without a prayer. But I'm going to go 4, 3, 7 and 11 as my top 4 selections. I'm ignoring at this stage number 2, Ticking Bomb, the maiden, and clearly Little Miss Pink has upset chance.
So that's race number 5 as we move stealthily into race number 6, where they have joint favourites at 16 to 10, numbers 2 and 8, and those are Graham's 2 selections for the final leg of the bipot. Number 2, Port Louis, the Gimme the Green Light, coming off a second to Rascallion. Draw 2, Richard Fourie. And then we have number 8, Coastal Commander, who ran 4th to Green with Envy, and then second to Rapidash in that penultimate run. Now, Graham, when it comes to the weight department, number 8, Coastal Commander, he seems to be way ahead in the handicapping section here.
Yeah, look, I'm not. It does look like a two-horse race on paper, although I have healthy respect for Zil Morris. I'm not prepared to totally ignore his chances. Brett Crawford obviously has a very strong hand here with numbers 2, Port Louis, 6, Zil Maurice, and 7, Zumi. Zil Maurice and Zumi went to the Eastern Cape to contest the East Cape Guineas and ran 2nd and 3rd behind the local champion, Fairy Knight. But back to Coastal Commander. In his penultimate run, he ran 2nd in the Gold Rush behind Rapid Dash. That was a sound effort. He came from the absolute clouds to run a close second. It was perhaps a little unlucky not to get the lion's share of that purse. It's nice to see Ashton Aries back in action. Coastal Commander is my first selection on the basis that he receives as much as 6 kilograms from Port Louis, but Port Louis is a 4-year-old and Coastal Commander is a 3-year-old. Port Louis has the better draw. He's drawn in gate 2, whereas Coastal Commander, it's a small field. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. Coastal Commander drawn 8 out of 9. It's going to be interesting to see whether they go forward with Coastal Commander or drop him back. 1,400 meters these days might just be a little on the sharp side for Coastal Commander. Second in the Gold Rush over 1,600 meters, and then a very creditable fourth in the Splashed Out Cape Derby behind Green with Envy, although comprehensively beaten. Whereas Port Louis is very much at home over 1,400 meters. So it's a tricky race, and the betting suggests there's not much to choose between them. They're co-favorites at 16-10. Number 6, Zil Maurice at 13-2, and number 7, Zumi at 7-1. So Brett Crawford does hold all the aces, but maybe Vaughan Marshall and Ashton Aries can upstage them with number 8, Coastal Commander. But it's an interesting race. It's going to be a good race.
Well, there you heard from Graham, a very interesting race. So let's see what happens in the betting activity as we move along to race number 7. So if you're looking to play the last double races 7 and 8, number 5, Southern Skies from 6-1 is short and 9-2, and number 7, Miss Marguerite from 5-1 down 4-1. Now, Graham, let's start with number 5, Southern Skies. Ran second to a certain Dice once upon a time. She's obviously got her issues, not striding out. Jock reported short. And then you got number 7, Miss Marguerite, who's never too far off the action.
Southern Skies is my top choice in a very evenly matched contest. As the betting suggests, this is wide open. There are probably no fillies in this 11-horse field that you can actually draw lines through. They all come into the race with a bit of a chance, but you've got to make selections. My top choice would be Southern Skies. I'm going to take her present well-being and her soundness on trust. That run behind the Abdicator was a good effort. Interesting that Michael Azzi still trains as Vercingetorix filly in the Western Cape. Craig Zaki takes the ride. He only rode her last time for the first time, so he might have learned a thing or two from a run last time out, went second to the Abdicator. But Sheldon, it's impossible to be confident about anything here. Miss Marguerite clearly has the talent and the form to win a race of this class. It's a middle stakes. They're very evenly matched. But you tell me which one can't win. Even the rank outsider, Pineapple Mint Green, is at 16-1. She's not the most consistent around, but if she turns it on, then even the rank outsider in this race, number 8, Pineapple Mint Green, can come home in a race of this nature. So I'm not going to be of terrific help here. You've got to play it very wide. My selections would be 5, Southern Skies, 7, Miss Marguerite, 1, Distinction, and 8, Pineapple Mint Green. I'm going to throw her into my top 4. I think she's got a sound quartet chance. But Polka Devas, Kythera, Lady Lookalike, Knockout, Kinky Boots, Onisan. To be quite frank, I wouldn't be surprised to see any one of these fillies coming out on top in a very competitive middle stakes for fillies and mares. Over the unusual distance of 1,100 metres, I see they've introduced a lot more 1,100 metres. It sort of bridges the gap. The Kenilworth 12 and the Kenilworth 5 are quite tough. So if you're an absolute 1,000-metre specialist, the 100 metres extra could find you out. And of course, if you're looking for that 1,200 metres, you might find this a little bit sharp. So interesting, Southern Skies for me, but not with a great deal of confidence.
So there we go, race number 7, a horse like Pineapple Mint Green, Eric Sands and Sean Veal. They've teamed up successfully. So this is the type of race where you can go the field. So race number 7, as wide as your budget will allow. Now, Graham, when we move on to race number 8, which is the Hollywoodbets Bright Future Class 5, once again, 1,100 metres, I'm going to throw you straight into the firing line.
Yeah, we always seem to end these race meetings with the Class 5 handicap down the straight, and they never get any easier. They beat each other on different occasions. Wordsworth clearly has a chance. He is at the top of the boards. He's run 3rd in his last 3 runs. But is he vulnerable? Well, of course he's vulnerable. He's had 52 starts for only 2 career victories, and that's a clear indication that he is limited. He's a 6-year-old already, rising 7, but he goes well at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth down the lane, and once again the added advantage of getting the services of Richard Ferree. But How confident can you be with a horse that's won twice from 52 starts? Why not Jackie suddenly put it together in the last run to beat Country Time by 2 1/4 lengths? Her form lines, her record is interesting. 14 starts for 2 wins. But apart from the 2 wins, she's never hit the frame. So it's 14 starts, 2 wins, 0 seconds, 0 thirds, 0 fourths. So can she follow up? Well, in this Class 5, of course she can follow up. She's obviously in a good space. But I think Whiskey Bravo will get a lot closer to number 10, Why Not Jackie, this time around. He showed some improvement when running third behind Why Not Jackie. But I'm not sure how much that form can be trusted. On past form, not on the basis of a last run, number 7, Seeking Peace, will come into the race with a chance. Shifting Path, Wiley Jack. And even Lover's Lane from the Lunga Gila stable could upset the apple cart with just 54.5 on the back. So the pick 6 and the jackpots, particularly jackpot 2, which starts with race 5. Races 7 and 8 are tough. You're going to probably have to take a few chances in the earlier legs, maybe just row in with Port Louis and Coastal Commander, narrow that down to 2 in the earlier leg, and hope that Zil Maurice doesn't upstage his more fancied stable companion. And maybe in the opening couple of legs, you're going to have to take a few chances and maybe trust the form lines, because in races 7 and 8, I think you're going to have to go pretty wide.
There is one horse that I want to throw into the equation, and it's not my style usually, but the filly number 1, Winter Frolic, taking on the boys. She's been very, very disappointing. I see they take the blinkers off. The last run, she moved up a potential winner at the 400 and then just seemed to absolutely fade out of contention. What do you make of Winter Frolic? The blinkers come off, worth including in the pick 6 for a big upset?
Possibly, because we know this is a kind of race. So, as I mentioned earlier, we've had pick 6 carryovers at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on a quite consistent basis. So there's always something happening that is unexpected. Now, Winter Frolic, I can tell you, was trained by Glenn Cotson, and he always said to me that this filly had ability, and he was pulling his hair out. I think they've sold the filly to the Dare to Dream Syndicate that have been having a wonderful run. So if you're going to take an owner's form into account and a trainer's form into account, then the Pitwater Dare to Dream Racing Syndicate have been in good form. And if there's to be a major upset, knowing that the filly has ability but just not reproducing it on the track, this will be only the second run for the Pitwater stable. So it'll be interesting to see how she goes. And yes, why not throw her in?
There we go. Throw number 1, Winter Frolic. So races 7 and 8, as wide as your budget will allow. Now, Graham has worked out a buy pot. He's also got a value bet for us on the card. So we're going to bring up that slide and ask Graham to take us through those selections.
Well, thank you, Sheldon. Just a reminder that the first race at 12:30 is the opening leg of the buy pot. We're going with numbers 2, Dixieland Band, and 12, Babalicious. They bring the best form into the race. The improver could be number 7, Pentalina. The second leg going with numbers 2, Tequila Sky, and 8, Bella Vista. Tequila Sky brings the form, and Bella Vista on debut brings the pedigree. The improver could be number 4, Pink Moon. In the third leg, going with numbers 1, Damio, and 3, Amancio. I think they're enough for the buy pot, but certainly not necessarily for the pick 6. You've got to also consider the likes of Prince of Tibet, Etoile Filante, and Azuri. Then in the fourth leg, numbers 8, 10, and 12. Well, this was submitted before the scratching of number 10, Quite a King. So I'd like to go with 8, Red Rackham, and my value bet for the day, number 12, Lockheed Lightning. But I think that considering the scratching of number 10, Quite a King, maybe you want to throw in number 3, Apache Chief, because you can draw a line through his last run. The penultimate leg, we're going with numbers 3, 4, and 7, Grandiosa, Veronique, and Fly to Rio, where Sheldon likes a little bit of number 6, Little Miss Pink. And in the last leg, which is the best race on the card by a long way, numbers 2, Port Louis, and 8, Coastal Commander. And as mentioned, my value bet, which was at around 7, 8 to 1 before the scratching of Quite a King, now around 5, 5.5 to 1 perhaps, you can get number 12, Lockheed Lightning, in race 4. That would be my value bet.
Well, lovely to have you in studio, and all the best. Thank you very much for the guidance. All the viewers out there, we really appreciate it. And may the horses run as fast as they can.
Thank you, Sheldon. Let's hope it all pans out the way we expect it to.
Thanks very much to Graham Hawkins summarising the Kenilworth meeting, the Hollywoodbets Kenilworth race meeting. As we mentioned, races 7 and 8, that where this book could be coming from.